Hi, this is Martin Drummond with Progressive News. It's March 10th, 2019, and I've tried to do this segment about a million times. I'm going to try and keep this as simple as possible. Okay, they threw me in jail. They convicted me of terroristic threatening and threw me in jail for 3 months at the Fayette County Detention Center, which I'm not even going to get into that place right now. I mean, no, I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to talk about the fact that I'm innocent. And look, I know a lot of people are very narrow-minded about people getting angry, people saying violent kind of things, and and terrorism and all that stuff. Nobody, I mean, that's one of my biggest subjects is terrorism, and for the news, cover it all the time, talk about it all the time, and so. First, let me show you what happened, okay? Okay, so I got up because they sent me a letter saying that my food stamps were screwed up, right? And I always have my car cam going, and I will very often use it to get my thoughts down, and I will take the opportunity to work on my show. So very often I will be driving, and I will be anytime I get my thoughts down, it could be for my show, but I'm constantly talking, not right here, but I'm not going to prove that to you, just take my word for it. I constantly talking to my car cam. So I'm on my way to the food stamp place. Yeah. And it's right up here, and I'll show you. I get there and it's completely empty. There's no furniture in there. There's nobody in there. There's people showing up probably before I finally left, because I found out where where the new offices were. Now, see, what I do is I take my car cam and I set it in on my seat, on the passenger seat, when I know I'm going inside somewhere, because I don't want it in the window, because I know people will see it and somebody might want to steal it. So I always do that before I go into a place. But when I try and go in here, which I was really surprised there was nobody parked in, because usually there's 10 people there by now, 10 or 20, more like 40 people there usually by 8 o'clock. And I just wanted to get there on time this time. But when I got there, it's completely empty. So I wasn't upset. I was surprised. And so the first thing I do is I go around the front of the building. I think, well, maybe they moved to a different part of the building. It's a humongous building. I think maybe they moved the front door to another part of the building. So I pull back out, and you can see lots of people showing up, right? And then I pull back around after asking, and Let me turn this down a little bit. So right here I've called, and like right at the end, so about 10 minutes on hold, and then
Off of Liberty Road in Lexington, where I was here just 3 weeks ago, I think, for to turn in SNAP, and they're closed.
They can't be closed.
The building is empty.
The whole building is empty.
Yeah, I mean, they've emptied the whole thing out, and everybody's down here wondering what's going on. There's no sign on the window, nothing.
Good grief. Okay. I need to ask someone in the office. I don't have any emails about it. And you're in Lexington, right?
Yeah. This guy's telling me, thanks. This guy's telling me behind Walmart on New Circle Road.
Okay. I have the address.
so now I know where to go. And I'm trying to get off the phone with her. I know you can't hear it because I'm outside of the car, but I'm like, okay, I know where to go. I'm going to go over there. But she wouldn't get off the phone with me. And I think on their recording you can hear me talking to her.
I was going to say it's 20503 Drive, correct?
That's where I'm at, I think. Suite 160.
So she just told me I'd have to hold on. And it's about 3 or 4 minutes. And at that point I've pretty much forgotten about her. And you'll hear me talking. Okay, and then I'll say what I had to say, that they're calling a bomb threat. There's about 3 minutes here. I'm going to jump ahead.
So I was here.
Okay, so I decide when I'm sitting there that I want to get my thoughts down about the food stamp people and the food stamp place and stuff. So basically I'm about to rag on them, and I'll let you hear it, and then I'll tell you a few things. First of all, I'm going to tell you I wasn't talking to her. I clearly got the thing out of the seat next to me and put it back in the window because I wanted to make sure that it picked up my voice properly. I was talking to my car cam here.
Less than a month ago. I was here on the 14th of September. They didn't say anything to me about closing that off. And it's empty. I mean, it's emptied out. It's completely empty. These people, whether it's the Republican governor or them or whoever, they're just obnoxious, man. All the little shit that they pull to make it hard for people to get their business done with, we're all dependent upon food stamps for food, those of us who are. When you threaten somebody's food, you really fuck with them mentally, and they're going to get pissed off.
Okay, right there, I'm clearly talking about, and context is everything here. Context is the difference, in my mind, between being guilty and not guilty. So I'm saying that the context here is me trying to describe how the shit that they do, how the shit that they pull, as I put it, makes people feel. Not me, people. But then you'll hear, I was going to start giving examples of what people have told me, which I've got a ton of them. I mean, I've got some really horrible examples of people getting totally railroaded by the food stamp people and the police and other people in Lexington. Something about government in Lexington. It's very right-wing, very fascist in my opinion, and they love to fuck with people, especially if they know you're not. I mean, first of all, right-wing Republicans aren't very often coming in for this stuff, and if they do, they're treated differently. I'm sorry, I'm not going to get into all that, but what I am going to tell you here is that my context is to try to explain how they make people feel. And I decide at the last second that, well, I'm just going to tell you how it makes me feel. And I can tell you that it makes me angry, really angry, when you're trying to upload something and they tell you the website isn't working all of a sudden. I mean, right when you're trying to upload the most important, all these things, there's all these little things, and I get the distinct impression like they're trying to fuck with me, and that they're trying to fuck with other people, that they're purposely, because it's hard to explain. It's timing, and it's like they're just trying to fuck with people. So I was wanting to explain that right there at this point in the recording. I'm trying to explain that, and I decided to use myself as an example. Now, it's going to be clear to you, as it is to me and anybody else who listens to this, that I didn't, even if I had been talking to the girl on the phone who apparently was listening and was recording the whole thing, they admit that she put me on hold, but she said in her testimony that when you're on hold, she can still hear you. So apparently at some point she's still listening, and I don't know, because about 4 minutes, nearly 4 minutes have gone by, and to be quite honest, I'd kind of forgotten about her, and I wanted to talk to my car cam. And so she's supposedly listening to this, but even if she is listening to it, the context of what I'm about to say is me discussing how they make me feel. Let me make sure this doesn't go into something where we won't be able to hear. No, it's alright. Okay, so I think that's everything right there. I think that the context is absolutely important. If what they claim they proved is that I called in a bomb threat, if they're saying that they put me in jail, because they put me in jail for this, they convicted me of terroristic threatening. So if they're saying that what I'm doing right here, even though I'm not even thinking about her or talking to her, and I've completely, to be honest, forgotten that I was even on the phone with them. I wanted to get off the phone. I was just being polite. You know why I stayed on the phone? Because I wanted to make sure that she understood where to tell people to go and to tell everybody else. You know, they should put out a memo or email or whatever, like she said. I don't have an email on this. They should put out something telling all the people so that the people calling in, because all those people were calling. Every single person I saw pull up to the window pulled out their phone. So that's the only reason I was staying on the phone, was to be polite, number one, because I don't like hanging up on somebody without first getting a hold of them. And I'll tell you another really important point here is that never once did I ask if she was on the phone. I mean, if I was really talking to her at this point, wouldn't I have said something? And there's plenty of places in here where I stop. She would have had every opportunity to say, well, Mr. Drummond, you know, you probably don't want to blow anybody up or kill somebody, because that would be, you know, something. She would say, are you talking to me? Something. But she never said anything. So that's an important point. But the most important point is the context point. Because they can't claim that they convicted me for what they're claiming. I mean, I think, and it's impossible to know because they never really explained to you what they were claiming you were guilty of. I mean, under the law, I mean, I can quote you the law and everything and tell you what they have to prove. So under the law, it very much has to be a bomb threat. And I didn't make a bomb threat. I didn't say, you know, you guys make me so angry that I'm going to come down there and kill somebody. I never said anything like that. I said that, you know, well, you'll hear it. So I've already made it clear that I'm talking about how they make people feel, and here I go with the rest.
Somebody's going to do something heinous. I feel like doing something heinous. You know, I'd love to kill one of them or blow one of them up if I could find out who's responsible for this just total disregard.
See, and that's taken out of context too, because I'm thinking at that point about how when you are dealing with them and they're screwing with you, they always run off. If you're doing it in person, like at the window, or if you've been called into an interview and you're sitting there at an interview, they always run off to some boss that they have and then come back and tell you, well, the boss said you've got to do this, or that we won't accept this, or we won't accept that. And that's all that I'm thinking about right there. And here's another really, really important point. They do have to prove, one, that I'm talking to her, because obviously I can't be threatening the DCBS. They have to prove that I'm... See, what they're trying to claim is that I'm being sneaky and I'm trying to threaten the DCBS and scare her by being sneaky and saying this stuff to scare everybody, when if the true context is that I'm having a conversation with my car cam, that's not possible. So who's the only person who knows who I'm talking to? I mean, they can claim that it sounds like you're talking to her, it sounds like you mean it for the DCBS, or they can say, well, we think that you were just being coy and you were saying everything to like make a veiled threat. Well, who is the only person in the world who knows, one, who I'm talking to, and two, what I mean? For instance, I know what I mean when I'm talking about if I could ever even find the person. I know what I was thinking at the time. I was referring to the fact that they go running off and you never see the person who makes the decisions and screws you. Like they're scared to show their face, you know what I mean? I'm the only person who knows who I'm talking to at this point, and I know I'm talking to my car cam. I know I am. So I'm not coming in and making some veiled threat. I'm not coming in like, and what am I? Some kind of old word gangster? You know, yeah. You know, you piss enough people off, sooner or later somebody's going to come down there and shoot somebody. No, man. I'm the only person who knows for sure who I was talking to and what I meant. Now, they hate me. They hate me because in this I talk all about politics and how the people are going to rise up and how I'm going to rise up with them if if we end up actually going to war. You know, I'm talking First Amendment stuff. I'm talking about the right of the people to defend themselves against a tyrannical government and stuff like that. I mean, that's clear, and if it's not clear, the only person who knows for sure is me. I'm the only one who knows for sure. All the jurors, the judge, the prosecution, none of them know for sure. And therefore they cannot prove beyond a reasonable doubt that I'm talking to her or to DCBS in a veiled kind of way. They can't prove that. There's no freaking way that they can prove that, because I'm the only one who knows for sure. Now, they can say they can prove it just because that's what they think, but they don't have any way of proving it. There's no way for them to look inside my head and know. And they can't say that just based on the recording that that's proof of who I was talking about. So they got nothing. They've got nothing. Okay? And then take the next step and say, well, what if I was talking to them? Well, there's still the context thing. I'm not making a threat. I'm not threatening anybody, even if I were to go into some, which is outrageous. I mean, first of all, I wouldn't say fuck or anything like that to some lady on the phone like that, and I wouldn't get into a fight with her or try and make her feel bad or try and hurt her feelings. Just because what? Because they moved without telling anybody? Yeah, that's bullshit what they did. But, well, you could take away my food stamps, and as long as you just took them away and you had a reason to, you know, I wouldn't care. But if you're just screwing with me, which is the case, every time that they tell me I can't have my food stamps, it turns out to be bullshit. I still got my food stamps, even after going to jail, even after them supposedly proving that I threatened to blow up the place or shoot up the place, whatever. Supposedly, I'm still perfectly qualified for my food stamps. And just today, I mean, I went there and tried to log in and upload the most important thing to get my food stamps, and their site tells me that they won't let me log on. They did this to me once before. It's infuriating. It makes me feel like I want to kill somebody. I mean, that's true. When it first happens, you just get this rage. Why are they fucking with me like that? What? I mean, I know why. In my opinion, they're fucking with me because they hate me. Because they hate my politics. They're a bunch of right-wing nutjobs. The guys who run everything in the IT department, the guys who are back in those back offices that the people go running back to, and it's all just a game for them. They're just trying to. Okay, so my point is that, and here's my final point, and then I'll let you hear the last of what I had to say here. And I wrote something up on this, so I'm gonna go find it real quick. Okay, so this is going to finalize it. And like I said, it's really complicated. I mean, I'd like to be able to tell you in 20 seconds why I'm innocent, but there really isn't any way to do that. So, I'm almost done though, so bear with me because this is important. Okay, it's called Do I Have a Right to Tell People I Have These Feelings? And this is a work in progress, and I've kind of screwed it up, but I'm going to go through it real quick, and this will be my final word here, I think. These are the questions. Which answers the question, am I innocent or guilty? If the answer is yes, I do have a right to my feelings and the right to express them in conversation with anyone, then I am innocent. So, do I have a right to my feelings? If someone threatens me, attacks me, intimidates me, is rude to me, steals from me, etc., and makes me very angry, causing me to want to commit a crime against them, like shooting them or blowing them up, and this is important, makes me want to. That's not the same thing as really wanting to do something. I mean, just because you feel like you want to do something doesn't mean you really want to do it. You know what I mean? You get real angry, you blow your top, you're like, I mean, how many times have I been standing right in front of somebody who just totally threatened me and tried to hurt somebody, and I just want to strangle them right there. But I didn't, right? And I never have. I mean, yeah, there's been some fights. I'm not saying I've never been in a fight in my whole life. Okay, so anyway, I see. So there's a difference, right, between wanting to do something and actually deciding you're going to do it and then going ahead and doing it, right? So I say in retaliation or retribution. So this is a very clear thing. Let me say it again. So if someone threatens me, attacks me, intimidates me, is rude to me, steals from me, etc., and makes me very angry, causing me to want to commit a crime against them, and I'm using that because it's a legal term. So because in terroristic threatening, you have to threaten to commit a crime. That's the, like I said, I could show you the definition. Well, that's the definition. You have to threaten to commit a crime. So I'm saying here, so somebody makes you so angry you want to kill them. It would be murder, right? So they make you so angry you want to commit a crime against them, like shooting them or blowing them up, etc. In retaliation or retribution, or makes you feel like you, that should be you, like you want to commit a crime against them, like shooting them or blowing them up, etc. In retaliation or retribution, do I have a right to have such feelings? So I'm asking right there, do I have a right to have those feelings? First of all, I'm saying they're uncontrollable. It's not like you have control of them. What you have control of is your actions. So everybody, whether they're willing to admit it or not, feels like that sometimes. The good person has control of their actions. No matter how much they feel like killing somebody or just punching somebody. Let's just say punching somebody. But, if you're a sane, intelligent person, you don't do it unless it's for a really good reason, right? I mean, obviously to defend somebody or yourself against violence. But in general, people who don't end up in jail are people who they control those impulses, right? I mean, I've never threatened anybody. Not for 20 years. I made up my mind about 20 years ago when I was working for Global Colors that I would never threaten anybody. I would never threaten to fire anybody. I would just do it, if I was going to do something. And I made up my mind about that a long time ago because I felt like threatening people just going to make things worse. So, but do I have a right to feel that way? Well, I say that, first of all, it's not really something you can control. I mean, I've tried to control it. When I get those feelings, I've tried to control it. What you have to control is your actions. You have to control what you say back to them, what you do. And beyond that, you can have these feelings as you want. It can't be illegal to have those feelings. And I say, first of all, people have these thoughts, feelings, whether they admit to them or not. They're, to some extent, an involuntary reaction to the anger generated by someone making you really angry. So I just said that, say it again. In fact, control over that, and it certainly can be argued that you have no control over the feelings you have after the initial anger begins to subside. After all, even the U.S. government plans attacks, such as Operation Northwoods. Northwoods, I can point out that we have plans for all kinds of violence, massive violence. But in this case, Operation Northwoods, look it up. It's where some people in the Pentagon or in the CIA or somewhere drew up plans to actually kill Americans as false flag attacks. So, I talk about that here real quick because that's important. So I can't make plans to defend myself or to retaliate against people who do bad things to me. The U.S. government does it all the time, all day long, but I can't. Well, that's debatable, and I didn't make any plans in this recording to do anything like that, so that's nonsense. It wouldn't be there, they couldn't claim that anyway. So now I say, all right, first of all, I say I have a right to those feelings. You can't tell me that I can't feel that way. And then I say, now here's the second part. Do I have a right to tell people that I have these feelings? Do I? Are you telling me that? Because, the prosecution brings up this point, which is, to me, total obnoxious bullshit. I think they're just using it as a way to convict me, as a way to get stupid people. Honestly, the jury was a bunch of idiots, except for one guy, a black guy. And he refused to go along with them, but they browbeat him until he finally voted to throw me in jail. And there's no way you can tell me that I don't have a right to these feelings, and that I don't have a right to talk about those feelings. I don't have a right to tell people how mad they make me, like I did in my conversation that you've heard most of already, and I'll just play out a little bit more of it. I'm not going to play the whole thing. They claim that the guy who threw me in jail, the guy who brought these charges against me, the head of security at the food stamp place, claims that he wouldn't have even brought charges except for I talked about war. Well, I'm just talking there, and I don't even see... I know that that's not something that you can throw anybody in jail for, so I doubt... Well, I may play it all, since it's all part of their little scam that they pulled on the... But first I'm just going to finish this off. Okay, so I do have a right to talk to people about my feelings, about these feelings of anger and these feelings that how I'd like to kill one of them and all this kind of stuff. I do have a right to talk about how they make me feel and any of my feelings. Okay, it may make people mad that I have those feelings. They may think that it's wrong. for me to have those feelings. But you know what? We can have that debate, but it's not going to change the fact that I have those feelings, and it's not going to change the fact that I have a right to discuss them. I have a right to discuss them with the person who I feel that way about. Unless they don't want to talk to me, which they don't want to talk to me. They didn't talk to me about how they make me feel. They don't want to talk to me about how fucked up I think they are. They don't like talking about that kind of stuff. I don't even bother to try. So that's bullshit right there. Do I have a right to tell people causing me to have these feelings that I have these feelings? Do I have a right to tell government employees that I have these feelings in person, over the phone? Do I have the right to express these feelings to my car cam or some other video recorder, audio, on audio? Do I have the right to, they threw me in jail, but they never really explained to me any of this. They never really explained to me what I said I don't have a right to say. So can you imagine you throw somebody in jail for 3 months, you convict them, give them 3 months in you're locked up. You don't even get to see, you can look up at the sky for a few minutes every day. That's about it. You can't see out of the place. There's just a thing you can look up and see the sky. It's not a good place, okay? I'm not going to get into that right now, but the point is do they have a right to lock me up and not even make sure that I understand what I have a right to do? Because I still don't know what I have a right to do. You're going to tell me I don't, to this day, I still don't know. But do I have a right to talk about my feelings? Do I have a right to tell somebody how somebody else made me feel, how angry they made me feel? I mean, is that really illegal now? Because I would find that unbelievable that we have made it illegal for somebody to express their feelings. So, are you going to tell me that every time somebody sees something about a serial killer, and I use this as an example to the judge, I said, okay, so here's a picture of a serial killer, and this is a picture of him right here, where he's talking this little girl into leaving the store with him, and he takes her home, and he murders and rapes her. Here's pictures of her blood all over the bathroom. And I had real pictures. And I said, I feel like killing the guy. I mean, I do. When I see that, if you were to put him in a room with me, I might want to kill him. Just the anger that you feel over such things. So you're going to tell me, and that would be a crime. So you're going to tell me you're going to throw me in jail? No, of course you're not. And you're going to tell me that you get the same feelings. I mean, 9 out of 10 people that I talk to is going to say, yeah, I feel like killing the motherfucker too. So you're going to tell me that that's illegal. Because that's what they're doing here, right? They're telling you that you can't, I think they're telling you that you're not allowed to have those feelings anymore. But for sure they're telling you you're not allowed to express them. For sure they're telling you that you better not let somebody record you expressing the fact that you're having those feelings. But we all know that if we were talking about the serial killer and I were to say that he makes me so angry I think I'd kill him if he was in the room with me. We all know that's not illegal. We all know they're not going to throw you in jail for that. I even pointed out the fact that when I went for my arraignment for this very crime, the same judge who threw me in jail told one of the ladies ahead of me, okay, I'm releasing your son into your custody. You better make sure he stays out of trouble. And she said to him, he better, or I'll kill him. Okay? Okay? I mean, how fucking ironic, right? Okay, so that's what I'm saying here. So, do I have the right to make a recording of myself, of my feelings? Do I? Yes or no? Right, and obviously I do. I mean, you may not like the fact that you make me so angry I want to kill you. I feel like I want to kill you, really is what I said on the recording. I was talking about how people make me feel. I was talking about how people make other people feel, but then I decided to use myself as an example. I was not making a veiled threat. I was not a gangster. I do not have any record. I've never been convicted of anything other than a couple of DUIs that were a long time ago. And, so it says, these are the questions which answer the question, am I innocent or guilty? I'm just repeating what I said up here, really. If the answer is yes, I do have the right to my feelings and the right to express them in conversation with anyone, then I am innocent. And that's it, right there. I am innocent. And of course, I do have the right. If not under the law or the Constitution, then they are a human right, right? I mean, it's just... Okay. So that's it. I'll let you see the last of this recording.
Now, I would never do that, and maybe I'm weak because of that, but first of all, I'm not suicidal, and second of all, first of all,
Now, what I was going to say right there, see, I'm the only one who knows what I'm talking about here. And when I said, first of all, I didn't actually say what was first. And what I was going to say was, I may say it or allude to it later, but what I was going to say was that I don't want to be like them. I consider them to be murderers. I consider them to be cold-blooded, heartless people who threaten to take away people's social security, and they're just really greedy assholes. And yes, I think that there should be laws against the things that they do. I think that they ought to be going to jail. I think some of them should be. If you murdered thousands of people, 40,000 people die every year because they can't get the drugs that they need, or the health care, the hospitalization, whatever. Isn't that murder? So, there's a lot going on here that I don't actually say because I'm just rambling, really, is what it comes down to.
I believe in, even when dealing with bad people. I don't know though, man, war is war.
So this is where this guy says he decides that he's got to prosecute me because I say that, well, war is war.
These people, they declare war upon people like me every day.
And what I'm talking about right there is how every day I see in the news where Trump or one of these idiots, McConnell or somebody, wants to take away Obamacare, wants to take away health food, wants to take away food stamps. You know how fucked I'd be? I mean, I'm retired. The only way that... if I had to take... I only get a little bit of money every month from an investment that I have, or a thing that I got going. If I didn't have food stamps, I already live. It's not like I own a boat or... I barely was able to buy the car that I'm driving right here. Just, if it wasn't $500 and the person let me pay them off slowly, I wouldn't even have this vehicle that I'm driving at the moment. It's obnoxious for people who get paid all kinds of money and have health care, like Mitch McConnell and the governor and all these people, to talk about taking away my food stamps. It really is. I mean, I worked harder than any of those motherfuckers. I worked much harder. I mean, I had a rough job where I sometimes worked 16 hours a day, went home, laid down, got up, took a shower, and went straight back to work. And hard work, out in the sun, out in the heat. I painted bumpers when it was snowing. I mean, you have no idea. My fingers, how many times did they bleed because I was sanding on stuff for so long? And you're going to tell me, with your cushy health care and shit, that you're you're trying to get rid of my retirement. Because I came out of that job with no money, had to go back out and try to do it on my own, and barely survived. Barely. Eating rice and my main food for all that 6 or 7 years that I was on my own before I finally retired. And I retired because, well, I'm not going to get into my personal life, but I have health problems. And at 55, I just decided I couldn't go back out there and do what I did for, I don't even know how long it was, since I was 30 years old. So 22, 23 years. And you're going to tell me that, and really honestly, you don't expect me to get so mad that I feel like killing them? Of course I get that mad. Of course I do. Would I kill anybody? Of course not. I mean, these two things are so obvious to me. Are they not obvious to everyone else? Yes, they make me feel like I want to kill them. But have I killed anybody? Have I even so much as taken a swing at any of these assholes? I haven't even had a harsh word to them. Not to their face, not over the phone. This was just something they happened to hear. Yeah, in my news shows, I say this stuff blatantly, openly, honestly. That's how they make me feel. But it's not like there's no fucking way you can say that I'm threatening to actually go do something to them. Just because I tell you how they make me feel. There's no fucking way. They put me in jail they sentenced me to 3 months. I only ended up doing 2 months and 10 days because, and that's fortunate for them, because every day that they had me locked up was a crime that they committed against me. As far as I'm concerned, they kidnapped me. And they held me kidnapped for 2 months and 10 days. I don't care what you guys think. I think that's what it is. I think that they're guilty of a huge crime. What would I give them for doing that to me? Well, I guess 20 years for kidnapping. Right? All of them. The jurors, the judge, the prosecutors, this guy Chris White from the Department of Community-Based Services, the food stamp people, and any of them down there. The girl, Sandy, who's on the phone here, listening to this. As far as I'm concerned, they all need to be doing at least 20 years for, kidnapping. Now, I wasn't, I was actually abused a few times in jail. People the people at the, and I was really abused a lot in a lot of different ways. I don't remember. I'll have to think about if I was physically abused, because I don't remember going in and how it seems to me, other than wanting to look up my asshole and lift my nuts, things like that. Other than that, I don't think that, and they didn't do it, they didn't touch me. I don't remember anything particular. The arrest, on the other hand, was a massively screw-up deal, and I do take issue with the arrest. What they did a lot of stupid things. Okay. I think we've covered it, right?
So I guess what it comes down to is when I decide and when other people decide that it's war, it's simply war. It's simply a civil war. The rich are, and I've said it many times that people need to get out and vote against the rich because they don't and that they don't do it because they don't realize they're in a war. I guess the reason I don't do something really heinous.
Okay, I'm going to just let you hear the little bit that's coming up because it does sound, it would piss people off, but I don't really care because I'm just talking hypothetically. I'm talking about how they'd lose.
Because I keep hoping that there's some kind of, a better alternative. An alternative to, and I won't end up dead. Because if I go to war with these people, it'll be with 100, 200 million others.
And by the way, that right there is a reaffirmation. Because right there what I'm saying is I won't go out and Allahu Akbar, I won't martyr myself. I won't go attempt to blow up a building or shoot up a place. Because I wouldn't. I wouldn't be that stupid, And I'm saying that right there. So this is yet another. Now, they can take it and twist it around and say that I'm saying that, I don't know what, but what I am definitely saying right there is that I wouldn't do anything crazy.
Other people like me, and we'll do it swift and get it over with very quickly. And they better hope that it doesn't come to that. Because if it does, they may think that they're smart, but they'll find themselves on the losing end.
Okay, so there's a lot of stuff that I'm thinking about here and I'm not really saying. And I'm talking about, like, if basically if they started a civil war and they were attacking us, how so many people would rise up against them that it would be over in no time. Because, I know how I see every day people threatening to attack liberals. And they do. They actually do. And there's liberals who threaten to do stuff too. But, if it came down to a civil war and all these right-wing nutjobs decided they were going to try and kill us off, I think that they'd be real surprised at how many of us there are. And even if they had the police and... Because I don't think they could get most people to be on their side. I mean, what have we done that we deserve to be attacked? And yet I hear them, I've seen several times in the last week people telling me that Trump is saying if he doesn't win in 2020, and Bernie's going to beat the shit out of him. That's what's going to happen. And he's been saying that if he doesn't win, now I don't know how true this is. I haven't actually seen where he said this. So I'm waiting for confirmation on this. But if he really did say that he would tell his supporters to start a civil war to keep him in power, man, there's no way. There's no way. That's the craziest. And they're talking about, they threw me in jail for what I had to say? Really? And they're letting the President of the United States say that. Let's hope that's blown out of proportion or something. Let's hope he's really not that stupid as to say something like that. But I'm going to be looking into that, that's for sure. Okay, so that about
it. And apparently this bitch is hung up on me. No? Hello?
See, that's the first time that I ever tried to find out whether she was actually on the phone or not. If I'd wanted to talk to her, I would have done that in the very beginning. I would have said, hello, you there? What happened right here was I looked down at my phone because I either had it laying next to me or I had it in my hand and I wasn't paying any attention to it, and it had gone black. You know how the phone's just to save energy? And when I first looked at it, I thought, oh, she hung up on me a long time ago, right? And that's why I said, apparently this bitch has hung up on me. I didn't realize that at that point she was still listening to me. And yeah, I understand she got mad because I said this bitch. Well, I didn't know she was listening. I thought she'd hung up on me. So then I clicked the button and it said connected. And I was like, oh no, I'm still somehow connected. I hope they weren't listening to all that. They were. They were listening to all that. I would have preferred that they never heard it. I'm not ashamed of anything. I don't feel like I said anything illegal or even particularly inflammatory. I didn't say anything everybody doesn't know. Everybody knows how angry people like me are about being treated the way we're being treated and about the threats that we react to and all that stuff. So, and you know what? Over the months since I said it, and since I've had to look at it over and over and over again, I've come to see how prophetic a lot of it is. Because this conviction is very much a perfect example of how they limit our freedom in this country. And that's the kind of thing that makes you want to kill somebody. You know what I mean? When you start saying, you know, my freedom's being taken away from me. I mean, right-wingers are nuts about that, but not if it's somebody else's. If it's liberals, and then they don't care, right? If their freedoms are taken away. But boy, you talk to them and tell them that they aren't allowed to say what they had to say or something like that, and they blow their fucking tops and talk about killing everybody. I mean, they talk about killing everybody when they get upset about their freedom and their liberty and stuff. So don't tell me that what I said was a crime. That's bullshit. This is all bullshit. Okay.
Hello? Well, she hung up on me.
So at that point she did hang up on me, because when I was sitting there saying hello, it said call ended, I think is what it says. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the whole thing. I'm sorry it took so long, but I really feel like this time I nailed it, and I covered all the bases I wanted to cover, and I really think that it's absolutely clear at this point that they threw me in jail because they just don't like what I had to say. They don't like what I had to say about them and about how they treat people, and they don't like what I had to say about how they're gonna lose. In the end, they're gonna lose. And they're gonna lose because the pen is mightier than the sword, basically. They're gonna lose because they're wrong, they're assholes, they're just picking on people. They're bullies. That's what it comes down to. This is Martin Drummond with Progressive News. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed my little show.